our city council meeting for Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. And Chrissy, if you would like to take the roll call.
Councilmember Budaszewski.
Here.
Councilmember Cummings.
Here.
Mayor Deschler.
Here.
Councilmember Eidbo.
Here.
Councilmember Kamish.
Here.
Councilmember Kaiser.
Here.
Councilmember Onessa Rosen.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first order of business is to approve the agenda as provided to us. Anybody want to make it?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Anyone want to second it?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is approved. Next, we have a couple of appearances. And Chief Hubbard is going to run with this one.
I am. Just in time. Thank you, Mayor, council members. I have an introduction and a couple of awards to share with you tonight. First, I'd like to introduce you to Officer Alex Nelson, who was on a late call but slipped in on time. It's my honor to introduce to you Officer Alex Nelson, who as of June 30th shed the rookie title from his name as he completed his probationary period. As you know, candidates who are hired as Crystal Police officers endure a rigorous process prior to being given the opportunity to wear our uniform. Candidates complete an application, go through 2 interview panels, participated in an interview with the chief, deputy chief, and city manager, conduct an extensive background investigation, a full psychological screening, a physical screening, and physical agility testing before being offered a position. After they are hired, they complete 2 weeks of administrative and initial training, are given the oath of office by the mayor, and complete 3 months of individualized field training with an experienced officer. After successfully completing field training, they're approved for solo patrol and are assigned a shift for the remainder of their first year. Once they've successfully completed their probationary period, I approve them for permanent status, which is the benchmark we celebrate with Officer Nelson tonight. Alex was born in Robbinsdale and grew up in the northwest suburbs. He graduated from Armstrong High School in 2016 and currently lives in the northwest suburbs. In his free time, Alex enjoys golfing, especially with his grandpa, and playing video games, especially with his nephew. Alex recalls some interactions he had with police officers during his childhood. These interactions, along with the ability to make a positive impact on lives and his belief that this is one of the few jobs where you meet people on their best and worst days, are his reason for his interest in this career. After doing a few different jobs, including being a real estate agent, Alex took a position as a detention deputy with the Anoka County Sheriff's Office for about 1.5 years, where they had nothing but good things to say about him. Alex obtained his associate's degree in law enforcement from North Hennepin Community College and completed his law enforcement skills program at Hennepin Technical College. While going to school, Alex began working with us in April 2024 as a community service officer and served excellently in that role for over 1 year. We were very fortunate he decided to continue his career with Crystal PD by moving into a dark uniform. During Alex's background investigation, his references described him as friendly, courteous, honest, reliable, nice, laid back, hardworking, trustworthy, and cool as a cucumber. These are all qualities we look for in Crystal officers, and we've observed all of these in Alex on a regular basis. Alex said that prior to being hired as a CSO, he had always heard extremely positive things about Crystal PD. He says after over 1 year of working here, he was honored to have the opportunity to continue his career here because he has seen firsthand how everyone strives to meet the goals and mission of our department in every interaction with the public. Alex has most certainly taken our mission to heart and demonstrates it to our community daily. Please join us in officially congratulating Officer Alex Nelson on completion of his Crystal Police Department probationary period.
Congratulations, yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome to the family.
Congratulations.
Don't go far, Alex. You can stay right here.
Yeah.
I'll have Sergeant Nick Schwalbe and Officer Anna Footerer join us up here. As you know, Crystal police officers do outstanding work every day to serve, protect, and assist those in the community who live, work, and spend time here. Most of their work goes largely unrecognized, and we all understand that's part of this job. However, there are times when the actions of officers far surpass our normal motto of service with compassion, integrity, and professionalism. As a part of the police department's recognition program, we feel there are times that accomplishments should be recognized in front of the council and community, which is what we're sharing tonight. I'm honored to recognize 5 of our team members with life-saving awards. The Crystal Police Department Life Saving Award is presented to department personnel who save a human life in imminent danger of death through the application of medical efforts. On December 28, 2025, Crystal officers were dispatched to a residence in Crystal for a medical where a male fell and was unconscious. Officer Footerer was the first to arrive and found the patient was not breathing and did not have a pulse. Officer Footerer rolled the male onto his back and began CPR. Sergeant Schwalbe arrived and attached a defibrillator, and Officer Nelson arrived and began rescue breathing. After completing quality CPR for an extended time, the patient regained a pulse. Officer Nelson rode with the ambulance and assisted paramedics by breathing for the patient. When the patient was brought into the emergency room, he had a strong pulse. If not for the medical interventions of these officers, the patient would have passed away at the scene.
Nice job.
Good job.
Oops, sorry.
Great work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you.
Excellent work.
Great work.
Excellent work.
Great work.
Sergeant Schwalbe, you can stay here and be joined by CSO Tyler Wasgott. And you guys will accept on behalf of Officer Amara Murphy, who is not with us tonight. On September 29, 2025, Crystal officers were dispatched to an address in Crystal for a report of a male that was unconscious and not breathing. Officers arrived, assessed the patient, and determined that he was overdosing on opioids. Sergeant Schwalbe administered Narcan while Officer Murphy and CSO Wasgott began breathing for the male. After providing life-saving medical treatment, the patient began breathing on his own and regained consciousness. He was subsequently transported to the hospital for evaluation and further care. The quick actions and training of these officers ensured that this individual received the critical life-saving care that they needed. Congratulations.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job.
Great work.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you. Thanks to our police department for all the incredible work you do day in and day out. So stay safe. All right. Next is our consent agenda. Consent agenda is items that are generally routine and non-controversial in nature. We pass them generally in a single motion, so I will read through them. Approval of the minutes from the following meetings. City Council work session from June 16th, 2026. City Council meeting on June 16th, 2026. City Council work session on July 9th, 2026. Approval of disbursements over $25,000 submitted by the Finance Department. Approval of the list of license applications submitted by the City Clerk. Adoption of a resolution accepting donations for Friends of Crystal Parks, $1,216.50 for the 2026 Arbor Day trees. That was a nice donation. Thank you to them. Adoption of a resolution approving a site improvement agreement and stormwater facility maintenance and right of entry agreement for new development at 7056 Avenue North. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, anybody like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda? Tracy, probably.
I can make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second that motion.
Okay, John. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda passes. Next item is open forum. Open forum is an opportunity for residents to come and share ideas, concerns, anything that they're kind of thinking about or concerned about. Residents and our businesses have up to 3 minutes to talk about a topic. We don't necessarily comment on it, but we might put it on a future agenda item and discuss it at length further. So I have one yellow slip here that somebody won, okay? And Kitty, just say your name and your address, please.
Okay, Catherine Sabald, they call me Kitty, and it's 3021 Wisconsin Avenue North.
And your, Ken.
Yes,
Yeah, I've been to your house.
yes, you have.
Yeah.
We've lived in Crystal for over 30 years, and we've had a problem with raspberry bushes growing onto our property from a neighbor's property. The raspberries are growing the entire length of their property and adjoins their property. So they grow denser and farther into all 3 yards around them, year after year. Our neighbor's entire backyard is nothing but unmaintained raspberries. They're over 5 feet tall, some of them are. The raspberries are going underground into our property. To keep the raspberries contained in his yard, he would have to dig down and create a barrier so shoots won't grow into neighboring properties. We've sought help from the city more than once over the past couple years to control our neighbors' raspberry bushes. Our other neighbors behind us who were trying to get here tonight, but they couldn't, they've had the same problems living next door to these growing bushes. They've also reached out to the city with no help. After calling Mayor Deschler, she reached out by stopping by our home and seeing it for herself. She mentioned bringing this up at the next city council meeting, so thus we're here. We have done our research on raspberry bushes. They can be invasive and grow new stems from underground root systems. When roots have open soil with no barriers, they'll keep moving outward. Raspberries do not respect garden boundaries unless you create them. Without control, they can take over beds, crowd other plants, and become difficult to harvest. The neighbor only picks raspberries when we see him from the edges. So he is in our yard picking the raspberries because he can't get into the middle of his yard. So we're wondering if we'll ever be able to not have raspberry bushes growing into our yard. Looking at the city Crystal Code, section 615 on vegetation, it clearly states that native vegetation should have a permit demonstrating a precise course of maintenance for numerous individual plants in a landscape over months and seasons. The code says native vegetation means those indigenous trees, shrubs, wildflowers, grasses, and other plants that have naturally adapted themselves to the climate and soils of their area, but require cultivation and maintenance to remain viable. This would mean a permit is needed. The city referred to the raspberries as bushes. So there's just this fine line. What is native vegetation? What was native? It wasn't there. They planted it. It's growing. It's taken over the yard. Rank vegetation means uncultivated vegetation growing at a rapid rate due to unplanned circumstances. Another definition I found for rank vegetation said coarsely or overgrown vegetation that has not been pruned or maintained. The city code also states that no rank vegetation, am I at 3 minutes, should grow to a height greater than 8 inches. The section on compliance with permit states that all improperly maintained native vegetation needs to be removed. We are disappointed that after contacting the city several times and having inspectors come out, they will do nothing about stopping raspberries from growing onto ours and other properties. We believe this is a code violation and the city should address this issue and resolve it for us. If this isn't a code of violation due to the wording in the code's native vegetation, the wording should be changed. Either the codes need better language or the inspectors need to really help citizens who ask for it. I guarantee that none of you would want to live next to wild raspberries growing in your neighbor's yard. And you're welcome to come visit our house and see how they grow if you've never seen it before. It's who would have ever thought? Anyway, thank you for listening. We really appreciate the chance to tell our story here.
Thank you, Kitty. Yeah, it's something else.
Has anyone from the city,
Looks like you're in a jungle. What?
has anyone from the city gone to look at it?
What? I'm sorry. What?
They have.
More than once. And not just, what's his name? More than one person has come out to inspect it, and it's just kind of like our
I think that the interpretation from the city's standpoint is not considered a noxious weed. And so there isn't much enforcement action the city can take the way that the code is written. Is that kind of your understanding, Jen?
Well, on part of it, yes. The other part of it is, I mean, there are several elements that were brought up tonight, so I can't really, I don't have the code in front of me, so I can't
Okay.
respond
But I'm
directly
wondering
or
if we could-
intelligently. But I would like to say, Madam Mayor, I mean, if you think about this case, we couldn't just apply this to this one situation. Every property that has raspberries or any other type of bush, and many of them propagate naturally underground. Yes, they do not respect property lines. That happens probably in thousands of properties across the city. We would have to enforce this everywhere, against everyone. And I'm not sure, practically speaking, that that's possible, let alone legal. But even if the code were changed, the practical reality is vegetation like this, through roots, does this all the time, crosses property lines, and in most cases, people just mow it. They don't expect I don't even know how deep a physical barrier would need to be. I'm not a botanist, to prevent roots from growing across a property line, just as branches grow over property lines all the time. And it's just something that it's part of the world. So I'm not sure, again, we're not getting into debate here, is my understanding. The mayor, I want to make sure the mayor and the council understands staff's consideration of this. We did look at it. No matter how annoying we would agree it would be, the fact is that the implications of trying to change the code to force people to prevent their vegetation from growing underground across a property line is staggering. And that's kind of where we've landed on this, but certainly the council can direct us to change the code if they wish.
You know, there's people that take care of their properties and their vegetation, if you will. But this is a case where the person is, in my opinion, totally out of control. And he's doing nothing to help the neighbors. Just letting it go because he doesn't want to do anything. So it just seems like there's got to be something we can do to help the neighbors.
When you say that if we change the code, the whole enforcement thing being an issue, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily have to be enforced unless there were complaints, right? I mean, so changing the code would kind of give us an avenue if there were complaints for enforcement?
Yes, but we would have to treat all cases the same. And I mean, if basically, what would, again, we're not really capable of getting into it tonight into exactly how the code would have to read, but we can't say things like, well, it has to look nice, right? I mean, we have to be specific about what our code requires. So for example, if we were to require every property owner to place a barrier along their property line to prevent roots from growing under the property line, I guess we could enforce that only on a complaint basis. But the fact that that's in the code, I mean, I'm not aware of any place that requires anything remotely like that. Vegetation grows. It grows under the ground. It grows over the property lines in the air. I just don't know how to answer this at this point because this kind of thing happens all over the city. This one individual may have allowed their backyard to be primarily raspberries, but I don't know. I guess we really don't know how to address it in any way that wouldn't create cascading enforcement problems elsewhere in the city. But if the council can certainly direct us to look into it. That's definitely the council's prerogative.
I have so a long time ago, I decided to plant some horseradish in my backyard. You know, I thought it'd stay in a very nice, you know, confined spot. Well, horseradish, the way it grows, it pretty much started to take over the backyard. And so it was a battle between me and this forest of horseradish, let's put it that way. So I basically took care of it by using my lawnmower and my weed whip and whatnot to be able to And finally now, I mean, it took a while, but I was able to contain it. Is that something that can be done in terms of like making sure that you have, good boundaries or good edges? I mean, that's my suggestion, I guess. If it's growing onto your property or going into an area where you don't want it to be, then attack it with your lawnmower, your weed whip or whatever, and try to force it back that way, I mean, it's just trying to expand it. And have you tried that?
That's what he's always done.
Yeah.
Cases keep coming and coming, and I've seen them grow into our yard. I can't believe sometimes how far they have.
Yeah.
But yet I don't know if they're gonna quit or what.
I think eventually they do. They find easier ways to grow,
They've
yeah,
been growing for years.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
our neighbor's couldn't be here today. She has beautiful gardens in her backyard.
Yeah.
She's pulling weeds, she's trying to pull them up and out of her flower gardens and not just her grass.
Sure.
And it's been horrible. And, one of the things she did say before I came was, if you could pull up and see the, Google Earth and look down at our yards, you would see how his yard is going over, now it's spreading towards the front yard of their yard, which we don't have to see, but, I know,
It's totally a mess.
we have a lot of, what you call rabbits. I know everybody has rabbits, but they're multiplying in these bushes.
Great habitat is what you're trying to say, yeah. Thank you.
Well, we'll discuss it and see if we can't make a special work session on, trying to tweak something to give, yeah. You really should. I'll send you the address, you guys. It's really something. I'd be pretty upset if I was a neighbor. I'd probably be over there having a little chat, but,
I talked to them.
oh. Nowadays, you got to be so careful, but. All right, I will keep you posted. We appreciate you coming. You did a wonderful job. And thank you. Is there anybody else here tonight to speak at open forum? You got to fill out one of these little slips.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Well, then you're not going to talk, I guess.
You're going to refuse me the right to talk unless you collect that information?
Don't we have to have this? Pardon?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, you're going to refuse me the right to talk?
I mean, you don't have a name and an address?
I don't want to give it.
Are you a Crystal resident?
I don't have to answer that.
You tell me.
Madam Mayor, I don't know what your policies and procedures say, but generally, it's acceptable to allow someone to speak without identifying themselves.
Oh. All right.
All right, sir.
Go. Got 3 minutes.
I stand before you again to ask for the immediate termination of Crystal's contract with the ALPR company, Georgia-based Flock Safety. In my June public comment, I compared the human vulnerabilities of Flock to a lengthy history of police abuse of the driver's license database, primarily to stalk women. After returning to my seat, an approximately 70-year-old woman with light blonde hair, who I assume is a City of Crystal employee, approached to demand I fill out that yellow form. Without disrupting the meeting, I made every indication to her that I did not want to interact with her, nor would I be accepting any paper. I shook my head no, extended my palm out to her while also mouthing no. In response, she got extremely close to me, stepped in front of me, touched my thigh, and put the paper on top of my possessions. It was disgusting and clearly unwanted. I left immediately, even though I had planned on staying until the end. I want the City of Crystal to understand that I have zero obligation to fill out any form to speak, and I will be here speaking for as long as we have a contract with Flock. As far as Flock is concerned, it comes down to a single question. What side of history do we want to be on? A recent Star Tribune article highlights the role Crystal's Flock data played in ICE abducting and disappearing our neighbors. I'm ashamed of our role. Because Flock was funded via grant, the contract was one person signing on the line, and our unelected police chief. There was no council vote and no citizen input to the best of my knowledge. Until the council makes the decision to terminate our contract with Flock, we are choosing to put ICE and unwanted surveillance over the well-being and safety of Crystal citizens. As long as we collect ALPR data, ICE will find a way to access it, and Crystal is enabling and supporting their violence. I'd like to thank Councilmember David Cummings for encouraging a town hall regarding the Crystal Flock camera contract, and also for allowing a citizen to speak during the July 9th work session. We need to end our contract with Flock. I thank you for your time.
Just for the record, that was Councilmember Forrest Idbo who had the suggestion for that. No, you're good, but I think it's a good idea to have a discussion on that, so.
All right, anybody else here to speak this evening? All right, seeing none, open forum is closed. Next item is on our regular agenda is, excuse me. The council is going to consider approval of the final climate action plan, and our administrative program specialist, Sarah, is here to address the council.
How do I get it to be on this big screen?
Oh, I can do it right here. Yeah.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Sarah Nissen, and I'm the Administrative Program Specialist here at the City of Crystal. Tonight, I'd like to briefly introduce Crystal's first climate action plan, Resilient Crystal 2035. I'll go over what it is, why we created it, and how we got to this point. Then I'll hand things over to Ted Redmond from Pale Blue Dot, who will walk through the planning process and the plan itself. So first, what is a climate action plan? A climate action plan is really meant to operate like a roadmap. It helps us identify practical actions that can reduce emissions, improve energy efficiency, prepare for future challenges, and strengthen our community over time. Many of the actions listed in this plan also come with additional benefits. They're designed to help lower costs, improve parks and natural spaces, support healthier neighborhoods, and make Crystal more resilient for the future. At its core, this plan is about helping the city make thoughtful, informed decisions over time. Another important aspect of the climate action plan is to understand how it will be used. First, it helps us identify priorities. The plan is full of many good ideas to help us meet our sustainability goals, but it's not designed to happen all at once. Instead, the plan is designed to help us really focus on the actions that are both important and feasible at each stage of the process. Second, the climate action plan operates as a menu of options. It's not a checklist that has to be completed immediately. Instead, it helps staff, commissions, and council evaluate future projects, partnerships, grant opportunities, and budget decisions. Adopting the plan does not automatically authorize any individual project or spending. Future actions will continue to come before council through the normal budget and decision-making process. Finally, the plan gives us a way to measure progress over time so we can celebrate our successes, share updates with our community, and adapt as circumstances change. So how did we get here? The development of Resilient Crystal 2035 really began with the work of our Sustainability Commission. The Sustainability Commission was established in 2024 and held its first meeting in January of 2025. Very early in its work, the Commission identified developing a climate action plan as one of its highest priorities. They recognized that while Crystal was doing some sustainability projects, that a climate action plan would really provide a framework to coordinate these efforts, identify new opportunities, and help guide future decision-making. I'd like to take a moment to thank our commissioners for all the time they've invested through this process. Their leadership and commitment have been instrumental in bringing us to this point, so thank you all so much. So once we had a vision in place, it was time to consider funding. Developing a plan like this requires expertise, technical analysis, and meaningful community engagement. To support that work, Crystal successfully secured a $50,000 climate planning grant through the Minnesota Pollution and Control Agency. The city also leveraged that funding with local matching funds, staff support, including my position, and assistance from University of Minnesota's Sustainability Corps interns. And we actually have one of our interns here today. This is Ella Griffin, and she's been so phenomenal this summer, helping us with our climate action plan work, community engagement, including tabling at many events around town, and helping with other sustainability initiatives, including our sustainable tour of Crystal. So thank you so much, Ella, and thank you to all the interns who've helped us this past year. With funding secured, the next step was to select a consultant. And to do this, the city conducted a competitive request for proposals process to find a consultant that could help us create a plan that reflected Crystal's values. We were looking for a plan that was practical, easy to understand, community informed, and focused on implementation. After reviewing proposals and conducting interviews, the city selected Pale Blue Dot to lead the project. So with that foundation in place, Crystal officially began developing our first climate action plan. Over the past several months, we've worked with residents, commissioners, staff, and council members to shape the plan that you'll see tonight. It's been so exciting to see this project grow from an idea with the Sustainability Commission into a community-informed plan that's ready for council's consideration. I'd like to give a big thank you to everyone who's contributed their time, ideas, and expertise along the way. And now I'll hand things over to Ted from Pale Blue Dot, who will walk through the planning process, what we heard from the community, and the recommendations included in the climate action plan. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, let me get this going. Okay, thank you all for letting me be here tonight. So I'll just provide a high-level overview of the plan following on what Sarah just said. So the planning process that we went through had 4 primary phases. The first I call context. So we were trying to understand the context of Crystal. We did a lot of baseline research, vulnerability assessments, greenhouse gas inventories, ground cover studies, etc. We also had a series of different community engagement opportunities that touched over 180 community members. That included open-ended input survey, review survey at the end of the process, community meetings, storytelling opportunity that was an online opportunity. And of course, the collaborative planning team, which I would also like to echo what Sarah was saying and really shout out the significant investment of time that those volunteers and staff members put into the planning effort. They went through 4 very detailed, lengthy workshop sessions and some work between the workshop sessions, so they really put a lot of effort in. And that was really the foundation of the creation of the plan. So that included then the collaboration of 24 team members. And then we went through the final session, phase, which was completion, having the plan available for review by the planning team members, by commission, by city staff members, and public review. So the goal of the plan, we have 2 phases to the goal, if you will, a short-term, near-term goal of reducing community-wide emissions 49% below 2016 levels by 2035. And the plan suggests a long-term goal of achieving net zero emissions by 2050. Both of those goals align with the goals of Hennepin County, Met Council climate goals, and the state of Minnesota goals. So we're all kind of working in concert towards a midterm and a long-term vision that relate to each other. The plan itself is organized around 8 sectors of climate resilience or greenhouse gas emissions reduction. Those 8 sectors then define 26 strategies or sector goals, if you will. And those goals then are supported through a menu of 119 actions. And as Sarah pointed out, the intent there is not necessarily it's a checklist that you do every single action, but instead looking at actions that can work in concert and that can be implemented both intentionally as well as opportunistically is the way I like to define it. In other words, as the city might be working on certain projects, there's probably an action that could be integrated into that effort. So keeping it in front of ourselves through the implementation timeframe, we find can do a lot of benefit. And so the intent is that it would be implemented through a 10-year timeframe through 2035. So just a high-level overview of each of those sectors. The first sector being transportation and land use. That sector has an overarching goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions 47.9% by 2035. That's achieved through a series of goals reducing community-wide vehicle miles traveled, increasing biking and walkability and bike utilization, increasing public transit utilization, and increasing population density. And what we mean by that is there are projections for population growth. What we're encouraging is to have some of that happen within land that is already developed. That tends to reinforce quality multimodal opportunities, biking, walking, et cetera. And then lastly, increasing the use of zero-emission vehicles. In the buildings and energy sector, this sector is looking at reducing community-wide emissions 56% by 2035. That's achieved through increasing renewable electricity use, decreasing overall electricity consumption through energy efficiency, things like let's make sure we're using LED light bulbs, that kind of thing, reducing on-site fossil fuel use. And that on-site fossil fuel use reduction is coming about through two strategies. One is let's increase energy efficiency. If we have buildings that could use better insulation, for instance, or more efficient fixtures as we upgrade those things, let's keep in mind how we can increase energy efficiency. And also looking to fuel switch, just simply looking for opportunities to stop burning fossil fuels to keep warm and move towards things like heat pump systems. In waste management, we're looking at a decrease of greenhouse gas emissions of 27.5%, achieving that through overall just reduction of waste generation, an increase in recycling diversion, and an increase in organics diversion. So getting organics out of the waste stream and into composting strategies. In the water sector, we're looking at a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions of over 5%, achieved through increased water conservation, and very importantly, the flip side of that, decreased wastewater generation, and looking at continuing to increase stormwater resilience in the face of climate change as precipitation patterns are changing. Overall, precipitation levels are expected to continue to increase, and heavy precipitation events are expected to increase. So looking for strategies to continue to build resilience to that. In the local food and agriculture sector, we're looking to increase local food production and access while decreasing food waste and food insecurity within the community. In the health and safety sector, we're looking at supporting climate readiness of vulnerable populations and increasing infrastructure resilience. And then lastly, in the economy sector, we're looking at how we can grow opportunities for green jobs, how we can increase local business resilience, and how we can establish sustainable climate plan financing. So a sustainable way of looking at implementing the plan. So that last phase that I talked about where we went through a review period, it started off with we came in front of you all at a council workshop session in May. We also had a sustainability commission meeting at the end of May and a community input session also at the end of May. Meanwhile, while that was going on, the draft plan was available for community review and input, and also detailed staff reviews and community team reviews through the 8th of June. And we had an online review and input opportunity that was available through July 6th. And then we're back here today for the final council presentation. And just to give you a sense of the online review opportunity, we can track hits on our website. We don't track people. We don't know who was on the website, but we can tell how many folks visited the online locations. And we had 169 visitors to the plan webpage, the webpage that had been set up throughout the entire planning effort. 43 public views on the draft plan landing page, so people looking at the draft plan. And then that draft plan was broken into sections so folks could kind of hunt around and look at the different sections, and there were 180 views on those public sections. So the public plan did have some pretty good traffic. We only received, though, a total of 13 individual submitters for comments and review comments. So we always look for as much as we can get. but we did see traffic, so we know that people were seeing the plan. Of those that provided us input, some of them provided multiple inputs because they looked at multiple sections. Some maybe just reviewed one or two sections because those were the sections they were interested in. But the comments lean towards agreement, with 67% agreeing completely, 7% agreeing mostly somewhat, 9% who wanted higher goals. So they disagreed and explicitly indicated that they thought goals should be higher. 14% neither agreed nor disagreed. 2% disagreed mostly or somewhat. And that, of course, is of those people who took the opportunity to provide input. We don't, I'm not going to say it represents everybody that looked at the documents. So since those review process, we've developed a few additional things. The first is just simply making revisions to the final plan that you see before you. The revisions are really very editorial in nature, sort of, copy edit, corrections of spelling mistakes, those kinds of typos, and then some tweaks for refinement of language, but none of them were, I think, structural or impacted the intent that the original document had. So the refinements is how I would tend to categorize that. And we've also, through this time frame, developed other documents that are intended to focus on helping the city move into implementation or support implementation into the future. The first of those is the implementation matrix, which is an Excel spreadsheet. It takes all of the actions and goals that are in the plan. It doesn't add any, it doesn't change the language, they're exactly the same, but it puts it into a live document that the city can use. It allows you to easily identify, change, and update target start year for each action, the lead city department that will be focusing on it. We've taken an opportunity to identify preliminary order of magnitude budget assumptions for each of the actions. And I can't stress enough, it's preliminary because costs will vary based on staff availability, what other projects are you doing at the time that you implement. So some projects we might be assuming that, well, you might need to hire a consultant to support something, but by the time you do it, you might have staff capacity. So it's preliminary, and the intent here is just to give staff a sense of the order of magnitude of effort related to actions so that as they begin to investigate it, they can identify what budget or staff impacts they think they want to bring forward to you in order to do an action if a budget is necessary. So it's there just as a supporting mechanism. We've also, next to it, by the way, put in an outline of our rationale for that. So there's a starting point for thinking about action implementation. The matrix, very importantly, includes progress at review. So staff that are working on implementation can very easily identify what status they are in with each action to provide updates. And we have a lot of supporting resources that are linked in that document. So examples of existing policies or programs or other communities that have done something similar. If we have access to that information, we've put it into that matrix. And we've also provided an example policy database that provides additional resources. Again, the intent here is just understanding that as staff look at actions, a great first place to start is let's go look at what other people did and decide what we like and don't like about it. So we're trying to provide as much of that as we can. We also put together a starting place for implementation team agenda, just kind of outlining, this is one way that we've seen communities approach implementing that can be helpful. So map that out as a place to begin that conversation. We've put together example tools that the city could explore using something like. The first is an example policy alignment memo, which is just an opportunity for how certain decisions could be brought forward in a way that looks at how they do or do not relate to the climate action plan, just as an opportunity for conversation or support. And similarly, a climate alignment checklist for development projects. Both of those, by the way, were great suggestions from team members as we were working through the project. And then lastly, I'll just kind of end on next steps, and clearly happy to answer any questions you may have. So next steps, after the plan adoption, staff will be looking at establishing a cross-departmental implementation team, developing annual implementation plans to identify annual priority actions for staff efforts, outline needed resources, identify grant or funding sources if needed, and then recommend projects and budgets for council consideration. And so I think what we typically anticipate is you'll see that some actions are actions that won't necessarily take resources, but they'll probably inform you, hey, we're going to be doing actions A, B, and C. Others might require some resources. So that allows an opportunity to look at that each year through a budgeting conversation. Oops. Next, they'll be looking at establishing a coordinated communication campaign to engage the public, inform the community, provide resources that we have at our fingertips already and can have in the future. Working with the Sustainability Commission to develop annual work plans for commission support priorities. It's a great commission. There's opportunities for them to explore how they might take on some of these things also. And also updating the council on implementation progress at regular intervals. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or share any more information.
Tashi.
I'll just say this is very impressive work. I think back to when we stood up the Sustainability Commission, I don't know, not too long ago, and for us to be here now with a thriving commission who really encouraged us to set out and do all of this work. So just shout out to the commission, to Sarah, to Ted and team who have just done really fantastic work. I think as we move forward, I appreciate these next steps. And I will continue to look to the Sustainability Commission to really drive this, hold the city and the council accountable to this plan. It's one thing to have a plan, it's another thing to actually implement a plan. And so I'm very interested in how we do that over the coming years. So again, kudos to the team that did this. I think it's really impressive work.
Forrest.
Yeah, I want to echo Taji's sentiments, and I see a couple sustainability commissioners here tonight. Thank you, Jen and Leanne, for coming out. Incredible amount of work that's been done. And Ted, I've been very impressed with your level of community engagement through this process as well, and staff engagement. I think it was really apparent to me that you did listen a lot. I mean, I've went to almost all the community meetings, and people had concerns, and you listened to them and changed goals, and I had concerns too, and so thank you for doing it, for also changing things to meet the needs of our community. I think our goal as a council is to make sure that we had a plan that fit Crystal, and I feel really good about this plan and the strategies that we have in here, and it really fitting Crystal in the right way. So that's great. I think just not to preempt my commissioner liaison report, but last week we had a mixer with the Robbinsdale Sustainability Committee, and we kind of shared some of the stuff that we were doing with them, and they were all blown away by our plan, and they were like, wow, you guys are doing that in Crystal? And they were really impressed with how our commission is operating, how engaged our commission is with the council and with staff and the plan. And it made me feel really proud because, it's not, I think in Crystal we have kind of like an underdog mentality, and it's always nice to see some of the communities that we maybe look up to in certain ways actually be like, wow, no, you're doing really good work. So great work. Thank you.
I'm going to echo the same thing that they said, too. I mean, I was just actually stunned and in awe of how incredible this report was, the job that everybody did. I could have never put anything like this professional together myself. I'll just have to stick with litter pickup. But you guys, I mean, you knocked it out of the park, and I can't thank you enough how appreciative I am, and our community is. So thank you. Anybody else want to?
I think you've said it all.
Okay.
We're all appreciative of your litter effort.
Yes. That's right.
Well, this was just, oh my Gosh, I just can't believe how pretty it is still.
Can I make a motion?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to move for approval of the final climate action plan.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. It passes unanimously, so thank you.
Great job, everyone.
Madam Mayor. If I could just say one thing, well done, everybody. This has been a long endeavor. But I don't want to, I'd be remiss if I didn't note that there are cupcakes provided by the members of the Sustainability Commission that were baked by Thirsty Whale Bakery. So it's for the public as well. So grab one on your way out if you haven't already.
They're very good.
All right, well, our next item and last item is the City Council, we're going to consider approval of West Metro Fire District budget. And let's see, oh, Josh, our fire chief is here.
Mayor, council members, thank you. Budget season's always the favorite, right? So the 2027 budget overview for the district is total of $4,231,000, which our general operating is $3,600,000, and our capital contribution is moving from $400,000 to $100,000. I'll explain why. Our engine lease is increasing to $287,000, and our overall increase for the 2026 or 2027 over 2026 budget is 4.93%, or $216,000. Personnel remains our largest operational expense as we are a service industry. Our regular salaries are increased tied to our staffing and our operational demands. Our part-time salaries increase supporting our new response model. And our communication and technologies continues to rise like it does with everybody. And our health insurance keeps going up unbelievably. This puts our regular salaries at 1.5, our part-time salaries at 760,000, our para contributions for the full-time members at 267,000, with a continued focus on our response reliability and our staffing consistency. This also supports our recruitment, retention, and our operational readiness. As some people know, we did our open house tonight, which is a huge recruiting effort for us, and it worked out very well. We had a great attendance. For our capital plan, our beginning capital fund balance of 1.7, we are expecting this to have expenditures of about 439,000. With our committed funds, which is what we're saving for the future for our air packs, our thermal imagers, all that stuff, at about 1,019,000, and our projected non-committed fund balance at the end of the year, and I say projected because it'll come back from audited numbers, and 2026 is over, of 299,120. We continue to focus and maintain that operational readiness and our long-term sustainability. We have our capital plan going out to 2035 now. We're balancing our operational needs with that long-term plan, as I said. We're maintaining our reserve balances, which is at 100% or full right now, and our capital replacement schedules remain on schedule without deferring anything. The impact of the SAFER fund changing is built into this budget, so there is no separate increase for it. Our future apparatus and our facility planning is always ongoing, and our continued investment into our staff and our firefighters' wellness is always happening. This is the major changes from 2026 to 2027. As you can see, we made some decreases. None of these decreases negatively impact us, as we were able to carry over about $300,000 from 2025 into 2026 capital budget, which gave us that reduction from $400,000 to $100,000, keeping our capital on pace as we wanted it to be. Our engine lease had a slight increase, and then our pension fund went down by $80,000 as that fund has now been made whole. So our total revenue is going up by $216,000, of which this slide shows Crystal's portion of that will be at about 48% compared to New Hope's portion, which is 51%. I'm happy to take any questions you have in regards to our budget. It has been approved by the Fire Board last week, Wednesday, and it will go to New Hope's council next week.
Sure, go ahead.
I just have two quick questions. So it sounds like, I guess it's more of like a confirmation. I just want to confirm that we are seeing better, more reliable staffing with the new model. Is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent to hear. And the next thing is, have you done any projections for next budget cycle, or how are we looking there? It's just a preview, if you will.
We're looking okay.
Okay.
I will not say there won't be an increase, but I'm not going to put a number to it yet.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure with that capital shifting, if, I'm just curious how that's going to reflect in the future years, so.
Thank you.
That was one of my questions, too. What is the staffing for paid-on-call firefighters? Or what do you want it to be? Like, how many paid-on-call firefighters do we have right now?
Well, I'm authorized by our joint powers agreement to have 66 paid-on-call firefighters.
Okay.
I am currently at my lowest number the district has ever been at, which is 39. So we are looking at bringing on at least 20, if not more, this year to get
Okay.
our numbers back up to where we should be. We have, since I've been here in 2014, we've never ran above 60 firefighters on the paid-on-call side. But we're going to try to get back to that number. That allows us to have attrition, as we have members now that are still serving well over 20 years that could retire at any point.
Right, right. I'm just wondering if that new paid-on-call model will help attract people because they're not on the hook for 24/7, 7 days a week, right?
I believe that it will, yes.
Okay, okay.
I also believe it'll help with retention as it gives them the true time off and not being tied to the pager
Right.
every day of the week.
Right.
So.
Do you have a,
I will just add, being on the fire board, really appreciate just how we've budgeted, how we're absorbing the cost more or less for these safer positions. And as I've just learned about the relief that that has provided the overall district, but the full-time staff. And from my perspective, we were more or less understaffed prior to these safer grant positions, folks not being able to take vacation, burnout, things like that. And so I think we are adequately staffed, which is great, and I think that's allowing for the district to operate at its highest capacity. So really pleased with how the chief has navigated that. And then again, also love the paid-on-call model we are testing. And I've talked to a few paid-on-call folks, and they have appreciated it as well. So good to hear kind of firsthand from them how it's going. So thank you for this budget. I think it's good.
Thank you.
yeah, Dan.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off what Taji was saying. Kudos on doing this budget because when we did the safer grants, we talked about those, 3-4 years ago. And, it was a good thing and we had these safer grants to pay for it. But we knew maybe there was a bill coming 3 years down the line. And you've been able to kind of shuffle pieces in the budget to make it really almost minimal. And so just kudos on that because I was worried that we'd have to make some painful cuts potentially with the safer grants when they came on and it made, throw the budget at whack or whatever. But kudos for that. So that really is impressive. And I'm glad to hear it's helping out with staffing and making everyone's jobs easier in the fire department. So thank you. Yep.
Good point. You did do a good job shuffling. I'm just a little concerned, about next year, how much good job of shuffling you're going to do. Because, I think most of us are going to be here next year, so we're going to kind of be watching this.
I'm watching the budget all the time.
Okay. All right. So no surprise there. Does anybody else have any questions? Comments? Anything? All right. Anybody want to make a motion to, I'm sorry. Taji?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2027 West Metro Fire Rescue District budget.
I'll second that.
Second? Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, budget passes. Thank you. That concludes our agenda items for this evening, but we do have some announcements. I'll read them, and then if there's any other announcements somebody knows about, chime in. So Crystal Frolics is this weekend. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and everything will be at Welcome Park. I think at Friday night it starts at 5 o'clock, and then Saturday will be probably 10. Saturday will be 10 in the morning until fireworks are over, maybe about 11 o'clock at night. And then Sunday there'll be more softball games and food trucks, and that will it's scheduled to go till 5, but I think 10 to 5. So Park and Recreation Commission will hold a neighborhood meeting on Wednesday, August 5th at the Kavanaugh Apartments patio. Music by local artists begin at 5. An open house to review Kavanaugh Park concept plans begins at 6, and a general neighborhood meeting begins at 6:30. I already had a guy today tell me he's excited about that. He's coming, he said. Next city council work session is Thursday, August 6th in the conference room at conference room A at City Hall. City council will hold a special budget work session on Thursday, August 13th at 6:30 in the upper community room at City Hall, and also available on Zoom. Due to the state primary election on Tuesday, August 11th, the next city council meeting is Tuesday, August 18th at 7 o'clock in the council chambers. Crystal Lions Cornfeed will be held on Saturday, August 15th from 11 to 4 at the community center. City is, I forgot one. Night to Unite is Tuesday, August 4th. To host a block party, visit the city's website at www.crystalmn.gov. And let's see, city's accepting applications for several volunteer positions on different boards and commissions. So for more information, please go to crystalmn.gov/volunteer. And of course, city council meetings and work sessions are open to the public. Current and previous meetings are available to view and listen at www.crystalmn.gov. Is there any other announcements? Yes, Forrest.
Yeah, I do have one quick announcement, and it has to do with another Sustainability Commission item. Ella, who's with us tonight, did an excellent job launching our sustainability tour of Crystal this last weekend, and it is a virtual tour, so you can go online to our website and navigate your way. There might be a shorter website, but I don't know what it is. But if you go on the website, you can navigate your way to the Sustainability Tour website and see all the really cool things that your neighbors are doing and also that the city is doing in Crystal. And I would highly recommend it. So just a plug for that.
So you go to the City of Crystal website, and then what do you punch in for?
You punch in Sustainability Tour in the search bar? Will that work? Okay, so there you go. Yeah, go to boards and commissions and then go to Sustainability Commission and it will be there. Thank you.
Any other announcements? All right, anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Sean? Is there a second? Tracy?
I will second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.